In a world of endless noise, one sound cuts through. GC Radio Hub. Your world, your sound. Imagine your favorite voices following you everywhere. From your smartphone to your car, your smart TV, even your virtual assistant. GC Radio Hub connects you to a universe of content. Check out our wonderful interviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, live music shows and podcasts. All at your fingertips. Android TV, Apple TV, Roku, Fire Stick TV. We're there wherever you are, because the only way to stay connected is to get connected. Download the GC Radio Hub app today and let your world come alive.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? It's your favorite cousin Chief at GC Radio, and today I have a wonderful treat for you. Oh my goodness, y'all don't understand. You know, there's like several wonders of the world, but there's one, Stone Paxton. Not Stone Cold Steve Austin, but Stone Paxton. And we got my boy in the studio with me today, and it's a pleasure and a tribute to have you with us, bro. So with all hands up aside, you know you're a busy man. I thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, bro.
Hey, thank you for having me, fam. I've been waiting for this opportunity to sit with you for a minute. So this is a treat for me. You know what I'm saying? Big Chief in the house.
But just know we are live on the GC Radio. So the people at GCRadioHub.com are listening in. Also, they have the mobile app. They can tune in on the website. So you are connected, bro. So the way to stay connected is get connected. So you got connected today. You know,
hey, I'm happy to be connected to all of you that are listening. It's a pleasure. And I'm excited to be here, man. Let's do it.
I'm happy to have you with us, bro. Big time, major. So there's a lot of things going on in the industry, but one of the biggest things is going on in this is my boy Stone Paxton. So with no further ado, Stone, did you tell the people where you from and how you got in the music industry? You know, what motivated you got you started?
Grew up in Illinois. And what got me started in the industry was my aunt had me in band at elementary. I'd shoot band class from elementary throughout high school. But what really motivated me to want to be in the industry, because I was already singing and playing drums in church, was I remember it was a Saturday morning, man. And I can't remember what show it was, but all of a sudden I see a group come on TV. And that group was New Edition. And I don't know, it was something, the Jacksons was my first enticement of wanting to be in the business. But New Edition is kind of really what made me go, man, I could really do this. Like when I saw them on stage on TV, and I think this was 80? Was this 79? Something like it. It might have been 79, 80, right?
Right.
I'll never forget it. So I was like 9 or 10, but just the essence of that, I was already locked into the Jacksons, always listening to the Jacksons records. And then, listening to my aunt's vinyl when she'd be at work. But when I saw New Edition, that was the thing that made me go, man, I like that. It just felt familiar with me. And I took the talents that I already had with my musicianship and singing in church. And I said, this is something that I want to do. And I just went on a mission. And I don't know. It's like this drive for it was there. It's almost like in the past life, I was an artist or something, because I didn't understand why it was so familiar with me. You know what I mean? Like I needed to be back there again. But the Jacksons and New Edition were the enticement for me. But I grew up forced to listen to gospel, but what really made me want to do it was the Jacksons and New Edition.
So when you were younger, did you like sing in church?
Yeah, when I was younger, my mom was an evangelist. I sang in church and I played drums. I started playing drums at 6 years old in church. And so I know everybody always uses the metaphor, I sang in church, it's a thing that everybody say, sometimes it sounds cool to say I sang in church, but I really sang in church. I sang and I played drums. everybody that I grew up with knows me from playing drums in church, in jazz band and groups that I was, signed to through the years. You know what I'm saying? So that's what people know me as, a vocalist and a drummer.
Wow. So, what other instruments do you play?
Keys, drums, bass, guitar. I mean, xylophones. Really, anything I pick up, I'll pick up a saxophone. I mess with it. I can actually record. Be like, okay, these are the notes I'm going to play in. But I've never. I was a drummer, first chair drummer, but never a saxophonist or anything like that. But I could pick up a horn, a trumpet, and saxophone, and key out the notes and play it on a record, like it's like I've been playing.
So,
Yeah.
what was the transition from gospel in the church to like worldly or secular music? I mean, talent show, you got a high school. I mean, where did the transition come from, and what was it like?
So the interesting part, I never did talent shows, like, because I was in not only jazz band, marching band. I was in concert choir, jazz choir, performance choir. But the group I was with, we never did talent shows because we literally went from me being a musician to having a record, having a management deal by Dick Scott Entertainment, who managed the group that I was in back in the day, because I gave them a demo. So because I was in performance, I never really did any talent shows. I mean, I did and I didn't, because we had performances at the schools that were built-in performances because you were in band or choir and stuff like that. But the group I was with, we didn't have talent shows. We were actually putting on concerts around Illinois, and they were sold out because we were always in the newspaper as a group. And because the New Kids on the Block's management had signed us, everybody knew who we were because we were in the paper. So we would just put on shows and they would be packed and sold out.
So, what's the name of the band? The first group you was with?
So the first group I was in was called Trey, T as in Tom, R as in Robert, E as in Eggert, The Real Entertainment, Trey. And we were signed by Dick Scott Entertainment was managing us. They were managed. They had us, New Kids on the Block, Marky Mark, Rick West, Perfect Gentleman, and tons of other people.
Wow, man, they got to be like an honor tribute. I mean, you're in the same group as New Kids on the Block, because back in the day, they was on fire.
Yeah. And you know what? The crazy part about it, Big Chief, is you're the first person that I've had a conversation with that actually covered that. Because most people that will interview me, they don't ever cover all those small, intricate things that turned into where I'm at now, right? That was a pivotal part of my career. The New Kids and all of us were teenagers. We all knew each other growing up. Because we were managed by the same management, and we were out on the tour. We got to see 300,000 people in an audience tour because we were there. We were out on the tour. So a lot of people miss that when they interview me. They miss those little things right there. They don't understand the New Kids were the only group that was as big as the Beatles. From the time that the Beatles were the Beatles, then you had the New Kids who were just as big as the Beatles. And we were a part of that movement.
Facts. Man, those are the good days. We had good music. That's when, like, on your flight, when they had the Feelers sweatsuit when it was popping.
Yeah. I
Like,
let my Feeler in my deal.
There was another brand back in the day called T.I., Taiwan back in the day.
I remember, and a lot of people don't even talk about that. That's so crazy. That's weird, huh? You're the first person I've heard mention that in a long. I got to go look for that, see if I can find that gear again.
Man, I don't know if they got one my size. I might have to sew 2 or 3 of them together.
Oh, you funny.
I can find one. They didn't have big and tall back then. You can fit it.
Yeah,
just wasn't for you.
Wow, that brand was. Man, now you got me thinking. What happened to that brand? Yeah, I was Fila in Adidas, man. I was, that was me, Fila Adidas, and those were some amazing times. I still rock my Adidas. I plan to have it on in dedication to you, but then I have my little jacket dedicated to Michael that I had on just now.
Let me see your Michael Jackson jacket, bro.
You remember when Michael did that Motown 25 thing?
Right. Oh my God, he ain't lying.
Yeah, dedicated to Michael, man.
Wow. So Stone, what was the first song that you made that got played on the radio? Now listen to me. This is my trivia question.
Okay.
What's the first song that you made that got played on the radio? And when you heard it, what was that moment like? Where were you and who were you with?
Ah, wow. You got me looking at the wall because I don't know, man. You know what? That's kind of crazy. I don't even know. Because it goes back to when I first had when I left the group and had my solo deal. I think it was a song called Standing All Alone, and I was signed to a label named Stallion Records that was distributed by Bellmark Records, and I was out on this tour. And so I did the Black Radio Exclusive Conference. This was like 1991, 92, when I first met Pac, and we became friends. And I met Fab from Milli Vanilli, and we became friends. And I think the first song was called Standing Alone because it was a single that was going to be on my album. That's when we were out on the road promoting, and I heard it on the radio in DC while I was there for the Black Radio Exclusive Conference. And I was with my manager. I was with my manager and his brother and my cousin, who is Sir Nose with the Parliament. He was Sir Nose. He hasn't been, I think, for a couple of years. He was managing George Clinton too. So I was with my cousin Carlos. He was one of my dancers. I was with my manager and the CEO of the label. And I heard that on the radio in DC. And this conference, by the way, it was the first conference that P. Diddy was introducing Biggie. It was called the Young Guns Conference in Washington, D.C. And when I tell you everybody was there, everybody in hip hop and R&B was at that conference. Babyface was in the elevator with me, wearing a bright green jacket. He probably wore that jacket for 3 days. I think he was working on an album, and that was his good luck jacket. But yeah, that's when I first heard the first song. That was 1991. It was because I left the group, so that was a solo album that I was working on. That was coming out.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Man. So since those days, man, you have done so much of your career. You know, you've worked with several people over the lifespan of your career, and you still are. Is there
Yes.
anybody in the industry that you have not worked with yet that you love to work with?
You know, I really wanted to work with Whitney, and I wanted to work with Michael. I had a conversation with Michael because I met him through his close friend, which is Amir from Kool and the Gang. And Michael heard my music, and Prince heard my music too. But I wanted to work with Michael because I felt like, I was like, man, I think I could do something really cool for Michael. He heard the music, he liked it, and he even said, yeah, when I start working on the album, you know, keep in touch. I love to hear your ideas. And I was excited, man. I was really pumped up because I was like, even if I never get a record on anybody, if I get one.
Whoa. I guess Stone got to come back. You know, then there's other
I'm
friends.
back. I'm sorry.
Okay, we got you back.
People
Okay.
calling me. If I get one song on Michael, I'll be set. And then he ended up passing away. So, and you know, that never happened. Same thing with Pac. I was supposed to have done some records with Pac. When he transitioned to his new label, but he ended up passing away. So I mean, I think about all those things. Whitney, I would love to have gotten some records with Whitney. I'm really all about the old school artists. That's why you see I did that record. I wrote and produced that record on Christopher Williams. I had a record for what's the name, Levert, Joe Levert's father, Eddie Levert Sr. I've been trying to get him to do this record called Exile. I'm hoping and praying that I get a chance to present that record to him because it's an incredible record with an old school vibe. So I'm really all about producing records for old school artists, whether they're hip hop or R&B. All the new stuff I don't care much about. All I care about is preserving the old school artists that were really writing great records. You feel me? And singing.
Now you got a little Barry Gordy in you. Tell us about your
Me?
experience with Envy.
Oh yeah, you know what? So my history, if you know me from back in the day, I've always been known to put together groups. So back in Illinois, I had a group that I put together called Envy. I did this back in Illinois, right? So when I came to Vegas, I wanted to keep the legacy of that name Envy alive, and I met this kid named Corey Clark. And if you don't know who he is, he was a guy that had the little ordeal with American Idol, him and Paula Abdul, and they kicked him off American Idol, right?
Right.
I had him as an artist. when he was young, he approached me at a talent show. I had my ex-wife performing. He was an artist. He came up to me and like, sir, I'm an artist. I sing. And I said, sing for me. I'm looking for a manager. He sung. I was like, you all right, man, but you got any friends? He's like, yeah, I got some friends. I said, gather your friends together. I'll meet you tomorrow. And I met him the next day and he gathered his friends. And one of the kids that I put in that group was, other than him, was Shaper, AKA Neo. And I named the group Envy, started rehearsing with him and putting them together and set up some meetings for him. And then my my good friend stole the group from me.
Yeah, but he took your group from me.
He was he was a police officer at that time. So he made threats to me if I interfere with what he was gonna do. So and I believed him. I think I was 21. Let me see, I was 19. No, wrong. 1994, I was 24. And Neo, them, they were young. I think they were like 14, 15, 13. And he made threats to me and he took my group from me. And that was a real reality, you know. So yeah. Neo and Corey Clark, their music career and whole inception of being in the industry started with me putting that group together. That was the catalyst for everything else. They got a record deal from my connection, and then the rest was history.
Now, a lot of people thinking that you just work with these singers and fine people, but you work with some other established artists like E40 and a couple other people. Tell us about your experience with that and how'd you fit in that genre.
So there's so much missing with that, and it's so much. That's why my bio is really would be a 60-page bio. Because back in the 90s, you got to understand, before there was a Death Row Records, I don't just produce jazz, R&B, and soul and all that stuff and house. I produce a lot of hip hop and I produce it well. So I was one of the premier producers on the West Coast during the time of Death Row, before there was a Death Row. So as Death Row Records was putting out records, I was also putting records out under my label, Prodigy Records, the same time, West Coast funk, hip hop records. So all those records I put out in the 90s are considered classic records, and they sell like crazy because a lot of the buyers from the UK will contact me to buy all those records. Anything before the year 2000 is super valuable. I mean, I've had them buy records $500 per CD. That's how valuable those records were coming out of anything out of the West Coast before year 2000. And you got original prints, it's worth tons of money. My label was one of the premier labels out of the West Coast because you had Death Row and you had my label, Prodigy Records. And at that time, I was dropping tons of records. I was the first producer also to produce a tribute to Tupac. If you see my wall, you'd see the plaque on the wall. The first producer in history, because Pac's mom gave me the permission to use the name. And then I released that tribute in like 98. Then after that, Daz put one out and some other people. So my history is not just R&B, but it's I'm a fabric of the whole West Coast movement at that time. Because you had Vegas, you had LA, and then you had Oakland. Those were the three prime elements of the West Coast sound. And I was the guy out of Vegas dropping West Coast records during the time that Death Row, before they started dropping, and continuously after they're gone. I'm still dropping records with Pac Heat. You heard that record I did on him.
Hey, that's a nice project, bro. And man, that's some heat. Woo. I can't wait till that when I'm gonna hit the streets, man. That was fire joint.
Yeah.
How did you and Pac Heat get together?
The artist, I don't know if you're familiar with Eazy-E's artist, BG Knockout.
Yeah.
That's Pac Heat's brother. So BG, I was doing a session with BG and Cocaine and CJ Mack. And Pac Heat came to the studio and he flowed that night in the studio. And I had not heard anybody flow like him in years. And I was like, bro, you're talented, man. And there goes the Compton song I did. I did that track and sent it to him, and he...
Man, whew, that is what I call fire. That is
yeah,
wonderful.
It is. That song's incredible.
Now, speaking of Cocaine, he's part of the my circle. You know him and what's the gentleman name? The DJ Assassin.
Uh-huh.
And then my boy Tavis Miller, West Coast Hip Hop Awards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh
I've been
yeah, I
looking.
just talked to Artavius. I talked to Artavius 2 days ago.
Cool, cool.
Hmm.
Good that y'all linked up. It's gonna
Yeah,
be a big
because
part.
well, here's the thing. I
Hmm?
didn't realize when you remember you gave me the number, and then I called. I said, "Wait a minute," and then I read the message, and I had been texting Artavius for 3 years. And when I called him, he said, "Stone, what's up, Stone?" And I was like, "Artavius," he said, "Yeah, man. I mean, last time we talked, man, we did been in Cali," and I was like, I felt stupid. I was calling him, but it's good that you reconnected the connect because I honestly I totally forgot, that Artavius was over that. So that was a good look. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I don't mind collecting docs. I'm on the Jay King show, Kings in the Morning, and every now and then people see me and they're like, "Tell Jay whatever." And so when the show started, I'm like, "Oh, by the way, Jay, such and such," and then Jay will bust me out. Chief just won't people know he knows somebody. I like,
Yeah.
no, Jay. They just said call it. And it's crazy because Jay and other person will have a relationship, but they won't call each other. They're like, can
I
you tell
think
Jay to
people
hit
get
me up?
scared. I think people get scared. I think they get nervous and they're scared, and they could just reach out to Jay, uh, and just say, "What's up, Jay?" So they're speaking through you, and you know how Jay is. He's like, "Man, I ain't Jay. They can hit me up, man.
But
Come on the
no,
live and say something to me."
Jay be like, tell the motherfucker to call me, Jay. Text me the number. Text me the number. I'm like, all
That's
right, Jay,
Jay,
I'm texting
man.
the number now.
Right.
Yeah, tell nigga to call me. He say, tell him to call me or text the number. It'd be funny. Then he'll come back. Uh, Chief just wants somebody to know that he knows somebody. He ain't
Yeah.
nobody. Chief ain't nobody, but
Yeah.
he knows
Oh,
somebody.
Jay be crazy. That Jay is as real as it gets, man. They don't get no realer than that.
But you know what I like about Jay? Consistency. You're gonna get the
Yeah.
same Jay King Monday through Friday,
Every
Saturday and Sunday. He ain't gonna
that's why
change.
that's why I love him, man. I don't, it's and I told Jay the other day, I said, listen, man, I said, I was like, don't change, bro. Like I said, they don't make them like you anymore, Jay. That's exactly what I told him. It's just refreshing to find somebody that's just honest with his point of views, and he's not trying to step on anybody's toes, but he's just being transparent to the point where he's like, I don't really give a fuck if you don't like what I say, but I'm not gonna
Nice.
hold back with my thoughts and opinions because you feel some kind of way. And I think we need more people like that, man, because um he reminded me of my uncle, and I hadn't really had that kind of energy around me in years. So because I met Jay a long time ago, we were judges on this talent show in Vegas at the Huntress Theater, and I had to remind Jay of it. But so I really didn't get to. I'm really getting to know Jay even more now, and I appreciate the person he is because we just don't have people like that, man. To keep it real, if more people were like Jay, I think we would honestly be in a better position because we wouldn't have to worry about people bullshitting us, man. That's
Don't
really
play him
the
in no
way I feel.
dominoes. Don't play him in no
Huh?
dominoes. Don't play him in
Is he
no
good? Is
dominoes.
Jay good at dominoes? Can he play that? Can he play
Don't
dominoes?
play no dominoes, man. Don't do it. I'm just telling you, don't do
He
it.
did. Okay. All right. Thanks for
I
reminding
went
me.
to
I ain't
Jay
playing Jay
house
no
and
dominoes.
played dominoes. This man puts me on Facebook Live. I beat him the first game, and
Uh-huh.
then he beat me the next 5 games. So the deal was to bring some ones over. I'm like, for what? You got some strippers? He's like, no, we're gonna pay $1 a game. Bring plenty of ones because I'm gonna take all of them. So I brought like $10 over. We played we played 6 games. So he took five of my dollars and I took one of his. And the deal was when you lose, you gotta autograph your money.
That's a smart one. And
Yeah, so he
frame it
gave me
and frame
autograph
it.
$5. Man,
Jay that
yeah,
good?
Jay good, bro.
Wow. Dang. Okay. Well,
Everybody,
I won't be playing Jay.
Radio, um, what's the other comedian? Speedy,
Uh-huh.
um, Rodney Perry. Everybody I know.
What?
Now him and Rodney talk smack back and forth. Him and Rodney Perry talk smack and forth.
Oh, I'm
And then
thinking of
Jay
who
told me
else is
last
good
time
at
he's gonna call the
dominoes.
cops on him.
I think 40 is good at dominoes, I think.
Jay had a domino tournament for a while.
Did he really?
Yeah, he was on
Oh, well,
domino
if he had a
tournament.
domino
This Jay
tournament, Jay
ass.
bad then.
Jay bad. He called himself
Okay.
Domino Daddy. I don't call him that. He called
Uh,
himself that.
he
But
he
he
bad
got some
then.
skills.
I'll
Yeah,
be
he got
watching
some
on the
skills.
sidelines while he beat everybody else.
Facts. So Stone, tell me, you know, I was watching Jay yesterday on KDE, and he did a top 20 countdown, and you got a song in the top five on
Yeah,
the
man.
countdown.
I'm gonna be honest. Like, when I excuse me, first gave Jay that song, I was really unsure. Like, okay, when I did the song, let me correct myself because I don't want to say the wrong thing to myself. When I
Right.
did the song in the studio, it felt right. I'm gonna be really transparently honest with you. It felt. I knew. I said this song is special. I did not say it was a hit. I said there's something special about this song. And everybody I played it to were messaging me back saying, "Yo, you one." And I gave it to Jay, and I didn't know what to think. When you start with music, I stopped trying to make music to please people, and I think that's why I started winning, Big Chief, honestly, because I stopped trying to make hits. I stopped trying to think I knew what making hits were, and I said, let me just make great music, and let me just be honest to myself, right? Because
Right.
for so many years I've been doing this sound, the funk music, the whole vibe you hear me doing. I've been doing that stuff for years, but people didn't like it, right? Soon as Bruno Mars come out and the funk stuff like that blow up, then all of a sudden now we know funk ain't went nowhere. But I'm saying at the time when labels wanted to hear R. Kelly, they wanted to hear uh they wanted to hear Black Street sound and stuff. When I worked at labels as a producer, I was always doing the kind of stuff you hear me doing now. And they were like, nah, man, we need some R. Kelly stuff, or we need some Jagged Edge, or they wanted whatever was relevant at that time. And I was always doing my interpretation of it, but it was always sounding like me, right? Because
Right.
I hated doing other people's sound, even though I was with a production company and my job was to do whatever they told me to. But for some reason, I would sprinkle that different stuff on it, and nobody liked it. Many years with my music, my personal music as an artist, nobody, and I'm being 100. Overseas, they loved it. A lot of people in the U.S. Would say things like, "I don't really get him, man. I don't." And Big Chief, I can't tell you why, but I was honestly being myself, and people wasn't feeling me like that. It took people years, I think years of my consistency as an independent artist, not me producing for labels and working for Grand Jury Warner Brothers, but being consistent as an independent artist, doing Stone Paxton and not caring if people are gonna like it or not. And I put out this album in 2019 called In the Key of Love. And it broke all kinds of cool independent records in the UK. It was on the charts for almost a year in the UK, and the album hit number 84 R&B albums in the USA on iTunes Top 100. Now we know that iTunes took over the top 40. You know that, right?
Right.
Remember Casey Kasem's top 40. So iTunes is the new top 40. You break into iTunes, you stay there for 2 weeks, you break into Billboard if you could stay there. So that album, In the Key of Love, broke in at number 84. And this is because of people buying it. Number 84 in the top 100. You know how hard that is to do in the US? It's the hardest market to break, but it did it.
Wow.
And then it broke other records overseas, London, Amsterdam, Spain, top 5, top 100, top 20. That album, if you listen to that album, I did it, and I didn't care what people were going to think. I mixed my R&B, soul, neo soul, my funk, all those vibes on one album, and I just gave people an honest album with honest lyrics and transparency through music, and that's like one of my groundbreaking records, man. As far as like independently, and it's still doing some crazy stuff. And so that's when I realized, I said, finally, people are starting to accept and like me for what I do. I don't have to try to be no other artist. I can be Stone Paxton and not have to worry about if a person's gonna like me.
Stone, I like that, bro. Real talk. When you said that people over here didn't really get you, but they got you overseas. It's kind of like GC Radio. You know, we received by the UK. well and very
Yeah.
poorly over here for a long time, like about a year and a half. 42% of people that listen tap in are from the UK. And now that we have a strong following in the United States, our biggest market is still the UK because they listen a lot more hours. So the average person in the United States may listen to us maybe about anywhere from 30 seconds to an hour. The people in the UK listen from like 5 minutes to 4+ hours. So they
Yeah.
listen a lot longer.
Yeah. They appreciate, and they're not judgmental of music. They're truly in that sector of, we appreciate the music. You remember the days of in the US when we were younger, we could tell you who played keyboards on a record. They're still like that over there. They could tell you who was in the studio with Stone Paxton, who played the xylophone, if I had anybody play it, when Stone Paxton created it, what the year was, what time of day. They research. They're really into it. And Japan is even deeper, and then my vinyl. Every time I release an album, I have vinyl. My vinyl sells out. The first week they announced that my vinyl's for sale, it sells out in the UK, Spain, Japan, Germany, et cetera, et cetera. And then now what's so cool is now my music has been exported back to the US. A lot of times DJs will message me and say, hey, man, I have your vinyl. If I send it, can you sign it and send it back? Or when you come to California. So a lot of those DJs now, I get a lot of emails with DJs that have my vinyl in because they got it from overseas. And so my fan base in the US has grown exponentially, and I'm happy, man, because I've decided to stop trying to please other people. Like I said, when I did that, Big Chief, God started blessing me, man, in some major ways.
Man, we gotta, step out and leap the faith. We gotta be our biggest fans, man. We can't
Yeah.
look for others to cheer for us. We gotta cheer for ourselves sometime. And that's a little
Yeah.
difficult sometimes while you're trying to get that creative process. You're trying to please everybody and you're trying to like fit in. Don't fit in. Be like Double Dutch. Just get out there and do it.
Get out there, do it. Don't try to
Get there
just
and
tell
do
the
it.
stories, tell life
Yeah.
stories. Like artists have to allow themselves to be a vessel. And I said, as long as I allow myself to be a vessel and I tell a life story that can touch people through my experience, then I've touched a million people, because one person would tell five and five would tell, and so on and so forth. And we'll reach that million spiritually, physically, internet wise, or sales wise. We're going to reach those people because nothing beats a story that people can connect to, and nothing beats being real. Point being, if you ever saw a comedian, the most funniest comedians are the ones that are honest. You ever thought about that? When
Facts.
they're honest, it's funny as hell. When they try to be a comedian, it's no longer funny. But when they tell stories about their life and they're not lying and they're being honest, those are the funniest comedians. And I feel like
Facts.
artistry is the same way. If I write from a place, you can tell listening to my music, like, man, that guy's BSing, man. But if you listen to an artist coming from a real place, you'll be able to say, okay, dang, that's deep. I feel every bit of that. It hits right here in my heart, what that person is saying. They say people listen to the music first, then the lyrics. I always say, I want people to listen to my lyrics at the same time while they're listening to the music. But how do I get them to do that? The story has to be compelling. Who are the best storytellers in music? It's always been country and our older R&B artists from the 50s, 60s, and 70s, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and right now, country tells these stories where you hear them and you picture um, the story. R&B has gotten away from that. We have to go back to that, to where R&B used to make you see the stories. I want you to see what I'm saying like a movie. As soon as you hear me speaking, I want you to see that. And so I said, if I stay real with myself, people are going to see that. They're going to ask me, what made you write that song? And that's what I get. People say, man, your penmanship, man, what made you write that song? I say, I've experienced it. I've thought of it. I've watched my family go through it. I watched my close friend go through it. So life is a storybook. That's why I don't understand why I don't hear artists writing about what we see going on in the world today. Like everybody want to write about kicking it, bling bling, watches, girls, the club. How come we ain't writing about what we see, man? Because we're living it. We don't just go to the club every day. We're not with our girlfriend every day. How come we're not writing about, if you listen to any of my music, I write about things that we live and that we see, because that's real. That's why Marvin Gaye's records still stand.
You're right. You are so correct with that. You know, a lot of us get in our own way, and we worried
Yeah.
about what people think, how they're going to receive it. What about how you're going to deliver it?
What
You
about how
know,
you're going to deliver it?
what is your
Yes.
vision? Not
Yeah.
what everybody else's vision is, but what my vision, what's my contribution, what my work. Because at the end of the day, they're gonna love or hate it. They don't care.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of sound like such and such. Well, he took a little bit of this. No, they're
Yeah.
gonna judge you for what you're doing. So don't worry about it. Just take a
Yeah.
leap of faith and do the best that you can do and be you. Because if you're being somebody else, nobody's being you. You left in the shuffle.
Listen, they didn't like when Prince first came out. They didn't
Right.
like Prince. That label said it was whack. People didn't really, they couldn't connect to him. So I tell people, look at that. Prince was a genius. They didn't even like him. So who are we, or the average artist popping up? People are going to judge. You can be the most successful artist in the world. There's always going to be somebody that just always is going to be opposite of that. And you can't have yin without the yang. So it's a universal balance
Facts.
anyway. So once we know that, we just go with whatever we feel in our heart.
You're 120% correct there, bro. You are so factually correct. You know, we can't do anything without that.
Yeah, yeah. True facts, man. Um, I'm just thankful, Big Chief, that people love my music, man. Because believe me, this is 43 years of consistent work nonstop. I've never taken a break from it. I've only been doing this for that long, nonstop. Didn't matter if it worked, didn't matter if it did. I always told myself I'm going to continue to do it, win or lose, making money or not. And
You're not losing,
that's
brother.
why I
You're
won.
winning. You're definitely winning. And you're making a lot of good music, good memories. And
Keyword, you see
I
what you
love
just
what you got
said too?
going on, bro.
You
I
said
love
good
it.
music, good memories. You see that? And that's what we forget. See, artists don't, they forget the music you're going to make is going to be attached to somebody's a moment and a memory in time. Do you know that when I play some of my songs, it takes me back to that day I wrote it and what I was thinking, and like, dang, I can't believe I wrote that record. People laugh at me, Big Chief. They say, man, why you always act like you can't believe you wrote the record? And I say, because I can. Because my mother used to say, when you stop being amazed with yourself, that's the day you will stop being great with yourself. So never cease to be amazed with yourself. Always look at yourself and be in awe. Because I truly, when I hear myself, it's like an outer body experience. I was like, I can't believe I wrote that. Like the Caught in the Storm. I went and analyzed that. I went and analyzed it. I had AI. I asked AI what AI thought about that song.
Right.
And the analogy that it gave me, bro, was exactly what I was trying to put out to people in my head, right? Like
Right.
that's what I wanted people to. Now I said, damn, if AI is picking this up, people got to be feeling the same thing, because that's what I wanted them to feel. And to me, that song is, I didn't blame the woman for doing anything wrong. I didn't blame the man, but I gave an analogy of how relationships can be. And in our mind is the storm, and in our relationship is the ocean, right? And then
Right.
when I sit back and I listen to it, I said, damn, I said, man, yo,
Yeah.
that's kind of genius. I was like, that's kind of genius a little bit how you brought that together, young cat. It shocked me, but I allowed the spirit to lead me, because I didn't write that record by myself. The universe, the powers that be in the universe, God, and all the elements gave that to me. Because if you really listen to it, Chief, and you analyze those lyrics, you can't write a song like that unless that shit was given to you, because that's
Right.
divine poetry at the highest frequency, bro. Like I listened to it, and those are the kind of records I would hear on the radio and say, dang, how come I didn't hear that idea? That
Well,
record is those kind of
you
records.
made a song that I like, and it's kind of like that cup in your hand. It's called Black Coffee.
Bro, that's another one. See what I'm saying? The metaphor.
You wanna play tonight?
That black coffee, bro.
You wanna feel it tonight?
Because people are so, and let me tell you how I came up with that song, Big Chief. People are always so impressed with us African Americans in our culture, right?
Right.
So when I had the idea for that song, Black Coffee was me saying, you guys want a taste of our black coffee. You want a taste of who I am. You want to be me. You want to be around me. You want my swag, all that. And then I said, how do I flip it? Because I don't want to offend anybody, right?
Right.
Because if I'd have wrote it that other way, people would have been totally offended. So I said, let me flip it into a situation where the woman, she's enthralled into this man, and she loves her coffee, and he is that spiritual coffee. He's that black coffee. And use the whole metaphor of how coffee and liking a person is similar, because people like having their coffee every morning, right?
That's right.
They can't go without it. So how do I merge the whole metaphor of black coffee into a song? And I'm the black coffee, and we as black folks are the black coffee, and they love who we are and everything we're about. And that's how that song came about. I love that song. They love, bro,
I
that
love this song.
Live, you got to hear that song live, though. Live.
I got it in the background now, real faint, man. The song
Man, that's my song, man. That black coffee, man. That's one of them ones.
Don't.
Yeah. This thing right, girl, tonight.
Now, you did another song
make
called
you feel all right.
What We Like. Now,
This is what we like.
Where did you get that one from?
Okay, that song was produced by one of my cats in my circle named Andre Hendricks, who's a part of Kyle West production team. And it's one of them feel-good songs, man. Because, see, I produce all my tracks, but there's times where I got like 3 producers in my camp, right? So if they send me a track and it's vibing, if a random person send me a track, I'm like, Babyface produced too, but he got other people that he takes tracks from if he likes the vibe, right? So I love the vibe of it. I said, and then it sounded like something I would do. I said, dang, it sound like, I said, dude, you've been digging in my library. He started laughing. I said, this track, the vibe of it just, I was like, ooh, and it happened.
I hope you don't take this as a disrespect, man, but it sounds like a 3TOB, track, man, and Tony made the feel good music. So that's a compliment. It's not like a diss at all. It kind of reminds me of something like that.
Well, it's weird that you say that, because through the years, people say, man, you remind me of Sadiq. I said, no. I said, some of the tone, but my tone has more body to it. I said, Sadiq tone is more nasally and up. My tone has more body. I go up, but in my range I got a pretty deep range, but I got more body. There's more body in my voice, right? It's kind of like having like when you take a condenser mic versus a condenser mic versus a dynamic mic. They sound different, right? The 2 different mics. So if you got a thin voice, that condenser mic's gonna make your voice sound give it a little bit of body, right? Like with me on this mic, my voice still has body. And then if I get a condenser mic, a dynamic mic, my body is still there live. Like if you hear me perform live, I sound exactly like my records. My vocal sounds even bigger because I really have my voice just has body. You know what I mean? It just has a lot of body.
The production, the whole get down, man. The vocals, the production, it just sounds like a 3TOB song, man.
It make you feel like you're in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
No.
It's a party track, and it's a great one.
Those cats from the Bay, 3TOB, now let me tell you something deep about that. I executive produced their vinyl. You know that, right?
No.
Yeah. I'm the reason why it's in the UK and in the stores in the UK. Look on the back. You got their vinyl? If not, I got one here I can mail to you.
Wow.
I got a vinyl. I think it's over there. I'll mail you a vinyl. I got vinyl. I'll mail to you. But yeah, Elijah is my boy. So I connected the situation. If you look on the back of it, you'll see Brand Artist Coalition. That's the company that I'm CEO over. I parlayed that situation for the UK to make sure that it got into the stores in Japan and overseas. So,
Wow, I didn't know you know Elijah, man.
yeah,
Wow,
the boys from the
world is
Bay,
small.
the boys from the Bay are bad, man. Ian can't take nothing away from Jubu and Elijah. Them boys are bad. So anytime somebody says this reminds me of some of that, it do sound like some Elijah them would do, right? It sound like something from the Bay or Tony. I'm never disappointed with that because that's real musicianship. And I love when people, if they can compare me, I say, you know, and I respectfully say, I don't think me and, well, I know we don't sound alike, but you know, people, a lot of times people don't pay attention to, they don't understand tonality and stuff like that. And if anything sounds close to something, they'll think, oh, you sound like that person. But if you really listen to me and listen to Sadiq and you listen to my records, you'll know, oh no, Stone got his own.
I guess somebody hit him up or then that's not his friend. We got him back.
Hello?
Stone
Sorry.
Paxton. Yes, sir.
They definitely people calling me like crazy.
Hold on.
Chief, you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Chief,
Hey, how you doing?
you there, Chief?
Hey, I got this gentleman I'm interviewing right now by the name of Stone Paxton, and he's giving me praises, man. Yeah.
That's my guy.
Hello?
Okay. I don't know if it's
Chief, you there?
give him a shot, man. We live on interview in the radio live. This is my boy Elijah Baker, 3TOP, Tony Band, Elijah Baker, the man, the legend,
Chief, you there?
is here.
What's up, brother? How y'all
Doing good. Stone, can you
Chief.
hear him?
Stone, what's up, twin?
He's having problems with his internet. Somebody called him and knocked him out on a StreamYard interview.
Oh,
Yeah, but
Chief.
man, we're gonna have to get you in another interview with you, man. There's a lot of stuff you got going on, Eli. I know you had going on, brother. Congratulations. I'm simply like, that's my dog.
man, I'm just doing what I do, man. Trying so you stay creative, you know?
I appreciate it, man. We just hit 90 terabytes of data in 4 months on my R&B station, man. So we definitely got to get you back. We're in 165 countries now. We're on 55 internet directories. We're killing it, bro. So we got to bring you back.
Well, I got plenty of music for you.
We definitely got to bring you back.
Chief, you there?
Definitely got to bring you back. Yeah, I hear you, Stone.
Okay.
So I got Eli on the phone. He said, "How you doing, bro?"
Who?
Elijah Baker.
E, what up, E? Hey, E tuning in? He's tuning in?
What up, twin?
Because listen, our birthday is like a day apart.
Yeah, he said your birthday a day apart, E.
Yeah, that's why I call him twin.
That's my brother right there, man.
Right up. Well, thanks for hitting me up, E. I definitely got to get you back, bro, soon. We got to schedule it, bro.
All right, just take care, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, till your interview.
Right
All right,
on.
Stone, be good, Stone.
Okay, brother. I'm gonna
He
call
said
you.
right
E.
on. All right. Thanks, E.
Yep.
Man, like I said, man, the world is small. And the higher you go up, the room gets smaller and smaller.
So did E call in when as you're
He called me
interviewing
on my
me?
phone. Yeah, he just called my phone.
He heard the interview live?
I text him what he doing and tell him I'm interviewing you. As soon as I text your name,
Yeah. Man, listen, let me tell you something. E
yes, sir.
is incredible, bro. That's all I gotta say. Like, he put out this, I don't know if you know, but he put out a sample CD with some guitar stuff, you know, because cats be trying to holler at E about playing on some records. So he thought of a concept. He put out this sample CD. So I'll be telling cats, look, man, go check out my boy. I got it. I'm actually gonna use some of the guitar stuff on records and stuff because the stuff he does, and I know he in the Bay, and I'm like, I can't go to the Bay to see. Yeah, I was hoping he moved to Vegas because if he did, I would have been at his house every day. But it's funny earlier when you mentioned E and M in the Bay Area mentioning that song. It does sound like some stuff E and the crew would produce. I was going through his stories yesterday. I meant to hit him because he was playing. There was some stuff on his stories he had, and I was like, God damn. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, man, this shit is. I meant to hit him and say, bro, this stuff. He had different artists that was in his stories that he had posted, and every single song was crazy, ridiculous.
Right. But not only that, man, T can move, man. He did a lot of the graphing for the videos and for the tonings and all that. He's a beast, man. He does so much behind the scenes that
But
people don't
see,
really know. Just like you. You know,
n-
I didn't know all the different artists that you work with, all the people you produce, all the you know, when you told me the first time we spoke, you're like, remember this track? I'm like, yeah. You're like, I bet you. I'm like, get out of here. Like,
yeah,
for real? You're like, yeah. I'm like, I remember that. Catch Richmond, for real.
yeah. I don't talk about it, because I feel like when you're good at what you do, your work is going to continue to speak, and eventually people are going to compare notes. It's just like
Right.
Elijah. Like, people don't understand all the projects and the people he's been behind. And I say to myself, cats like himself and myself we need to talk about it, because if we don't talk about it, and it's not boasting about what you've done, but nobody's going to speak about us while we're here. So we got to be the ones to tell our story. We have to.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
We have to, because the next generation needs to know who Elijah Baker is. They need to
They
know.
knew no Stone Paxton is.
See? Yeah. And
I
so,
mean, so I'm gonna say this honestly. I interview a lot of people, brother. I interview a lot of people, and it's so far. And I'm not trying to be funny, and I don't want people to think that I don't think anything of them. I'm just being honest. I do a lot of research on people before I interview them, and the research that I did when I looked at you, when I looked at Chucky Booker, when I looked at Elijah, when I looked at Kev that played Captain Samuel videos for E40, I didn't know the ramifications of the things you guys do behind the scene without the additional investigation. You know, from the surface, you're like, okay, cool. But then as you keep looking, you're like, whoa. You know, it's like when I interviewed Chucky Booker, half America don't even know that he did a song Memorial Day. And when I asked him, he's
man,
like,
Chucky done a
nobody
lot,
never even
man.
asked me that. Nobody
Yeah.
asked me about the song I did with Morris Day. Damn, how do you know about it? When I interviewed um, Lenny Williams, I asked him about Lisa's Gone, the song when he made was 16 years old and had it. No one ever did that, you know. When I
Yeah,
asked you about
you
a pivotal
research
point in your
questions that people,
career, you know, I
yeah,
want to bring
you
these things out that's positive that everybody don't know or don't ask you. I want people to really get to know the artist as a person, connect even better than they did before. And that's my job as a journalist that I try to do.
you do a hell of a job, because you definitely brought in the interview with things that people have never asked me. And I'll be honest with you, there's times when when I moved to the West Coast, I said, damn, I should have moved to the Bay Area. I kept telling myself I should have never moved to LA first and then came to Vegas, because the cats from the Bay is like the cats from Chicago. It's the same energy, musicianship, the vibe, the camaraderie. And I said, man, I belonged in the Bay. That's why a lot of the cats from the Bay, the energy between me and the cats from the Bay is always the same, because they're on that real shit. And
So
in Vegas, Vegas don't have it.
when I was a teenager, there was a guy who used to live around the corner from me named Blind Joe. And anybody in the industry in California know Blind Joe. The Tonys recorded there. Invo recorded it. So you know what I'm talking about. I
Yeah.
lived on Oakland. He lived on Elysian Fields, right around the
Wow.
corner. And we used to go ride our bikes in front of Joe's house because they'd be in there just rocking with the window open. We're like, oh, they got it. They got it. And then
You
plus we
already
used to
know.
go see Invo go up there to see City fine ass walk in.
Hey,
I don't know. You
that
know,
was
just
my that was my favorite too, bro.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that was
I'm
one of my
just this
favorite
is
too.
it. I mean, and then just so many groups in the Bay. You had Sheila, you had the Tonys, you had Invo, you had Hammer, you had Short. I mean, just so many people. Three Times Crazy. You had Monet, that son background with him and went out. Now she got a hit song with Will Dunn. I mean,
Well,
there's so many
let's go deeper.
people.
You had Sly Stone.
I didn't get to go there. Even further than that. You're
And
right.
you got who else came out of there? Hold on. It's some heavyweights came out
My
of the Bay.
sisters.
The Bay has produced some heavyweights, man. That's why I be watching Elijah them. He don't know. Elijah don't know, but I be watching everything they do. They inspire me to keep being great. I ain't even gonna bullshit you.
Now, speaking of
Watching
being
Elijah them
great,
inspire me to be even greater. They make me work hard. I'm like, man, shit.
now speaking of being great, you got a song called Feel the Groove.
Uh-huh.
And I'm playing in the background, I don't know if you can hear it. But what was the concept? What motivated you to come to this? This is another upbeat track.
Well, I was a member of the Rick James Stone City Band at that time. That's before I left the
Shut your
group.
mouth
And
and keep talking. You
Yeah.
was with the Stone City Band?
yeah, I was a former member. So I wanted to do a song to be a dedication to the guys, but at the same time use it as a tool to promote their name, because I was really helping them on the business side. I'm the reason why they make the money they make now, because I put together a funk festival, and I paid them a certain amount of money, because we did like 10 cities, Lakeside, Stone City Band. I made myself the opening act, Steve Arrington, and it was called the OMG Funk R&B and Funk Festival, right? Because I don't like, when I'm a member of a band, I'm not just a member. I'm a businessman, so I'm going to figure out what I need to do to help the band increase awareness, increase their pockets. And at that time, the money that the band was making split between 7 or 8 guys was nothing. So I said, let me go on a mission. They asked me, can you help? I think they asked, I can't remember. I think something about like help make money or get more shows. And I said, I got an idea. And I had an investor come on board. And I remember sitting down with the fellas. Now, mind you, nobody else in the group would do the shit I would do. Like, I'm just one of them dudes where if you say, Stone, be in my group, I'm going to be the biggest contributing factor there is, because I'm going to bring the most to the table with the business and money people, right? So I brought an investor to the table, came up with this concept to put together a funk festival and to increase their bottom line so that they can start getting paid the money that they want to get paid. And so I paid them a certain amount of money, which is why now the band, even though I left the band, I mean, I was just with them the other day, so there's still love there. But I left the band because there was a particular person in the band at that time who, I don't know, I was just like lot of weird jealousy, and they didn't want me to record my solo albums. They would make little weird statements to me. And then it ended up to me, threatening to, man to man, do whatever I had to do to shut their mouth from being negative towards me. And so I just left. But I left in the middle of putting together that tour, and I never took them off of that tour. And to this day, the money they make is because I paid them that certain amount of money to get them ahead so that they wouldn't have to sacrifice playing for nothing. And that's a real story.
I'm like overjoyed today, bro. I mean,
Hey, listen, I want this
usually I have
interview to be pretty
listen.
transparent.
I usually only have somebody on here for like an hour, but bro, man, you gotta do a 3-hour part 3 episode because it's so much we didn't even get started with.
Hey, but look,
Dude,
I like giving the juicy interviews, man.
Look at my list. I mean, it's just so much, and I don't want to rush.
Yeah.
We got to follow up, bro.
I would love to.
So much.
And I would love to. And in closing, let me just say this. So during that whole process, I was like, okay, cool. So when they heard the record, because remember I told you why I did it, right? To help promote them. Because I knew that I was getting a lot of radio play in the UK. And man, and I could tell this story because if they were here, I'd say it right here on camera. And they know damn Stone, keep it 100. So they called me and told me because on this song, I say, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the legendary Rick James Stone City Band, right?
Right.
Behind me, I say, well, they didn't produce the record. I produced the record, but I knew if I said that would get all these radio people across the country interested in the Stone City Band again, right? Wanting to interview them.
Nice.
And that's exactly what happened. But then the fellas called me and told me to take the name off the record. Real story.
Wow.
Real story.
Wow.
Those are the stories that people be hearing and they're like, is that real? Yeah. They told me, and I told them, no, I ain't taking it off. I would have to pull it out. And I said, you can't sue me for saying your name. I'm help promoting you. And then the records are in the stores. I'm not going to take the name off the record. That ain't happening.
Right.
But that's why I did
blessing what you did, man. And that's kind of crazy. They should be grateful. But I'm
they
grateful,
told me
brother,
to take it
because
off.
of the great music and the contribution. And they keep them around, bro. Like I said, that's part of the era when we had real music, timeless music.
Yeah.
A lot of this new stuff it can go, and then you don't hear about it 3 months, a year later, 2 years, and you're like, damn, I thought I heard that before. But stuff that you guys are making, you hear it, you're like, Oh, your life start flashing by, all the memories.
Yeah. Yeah, cause
That's what the
and you
people
know what?
do. Yeah.
And that's what and you know, I remade that funky reggae for the Rick James Stone CD band. I remade that. Right now, we talked the other day, they want me to do a new record on them because I told them it's time for y'all to put out a new record, bro. Y'all out here touring with no records. I was like, that's for the birds. But you know, memory lane is important when you're writing records. There's not many people that I actually listen to. When I'm not in the studio recording, I listen to jazz radio or old school. I don't listen to mainstream radio at all. At all. I'm either straight jazz radio or it's got to be old school, you know. So that's why I love when I hear when Elijah posts songs, I get a thrill because I go and listen to a lot of Elijah's music, and it just feels good, man. It just feels good to hear people still making great music, man. You know, and like I said, those cats inspire me, man. And I'm glad Elijah called in today. Those cats inspire me, man. He inspires the hell out of me to stay on top of my shit.
But Stone, man, I need you Tuesday, bro. Tuesday, we
Yeah,
gotta come back, part two, finish this
let's
up. I want to
let's
show.
do it.
Look, I want to show the videos. I want us to
Okay,
be able to. I'm playing the music. You're not able to hear. We having technical difficulties today, but we still the people are hearing everything, and you live on
right.
the radio, and the comments I'm getting is wonderful. But I really want to come back Tuesday, and we can do it early, man. Jay gonna have to excuse me from the keys in the morning. I want to do this all out live on the radio and our podcast and everything, because right now everybody at the GC Radio app are watching you on our mobile phone app. And they listen to the radio stations as well as our YouTube channel, our website. So you're getting a lot of views for this, and everybody I know is fiberglass because I am, because it's so much that we got to cover, man. We have not
Yeah,
scratched, people, I'm telling you, we have not
it's a
scratched
lot.
the surface with this gentleman. Or over half, I even, I played like six songs, and that's not even touching the catalog. Not alone the people that he's worked with, discovered, influenced, and had his hands on. This gentleman right here, I'm telling y'all, you're sleeping. You're sleeping. This guy's a jewel, and he's not a diamond in the coal. He's a diamond on a shelf. You just looked up to
I
see
appreciate that. Thank you.
it.
Hey, listen,
No, thank you, brother.
I appreciate that, Big Chief. I do,
I
man.
appreciate you
You
too,
know,
Stone.
I don't like saying the word humble because I like me and Jay was talking. Jay say when a person got to say they humble, they ain't humble. So I'll say this, and he's right. Um, my humility is at the highest frequency. You know what I'm saying? I vibrate at a high frequency. I just love good people and great music and good personalities, man. And that's what I live for.
Stone, man, you are a blessing, bro. I'm glad we got a good friendship, brotherhood, camaraderie. We somebody in the industry, and the music that you make, man. Like I told you before, I get so much music sent to me these days, and everybody like it's a hit. It's a hit. Now some of the stuff is a hit, if you throw it on the floor. But when I hear something and then my head nods, pat your feet, okay, you got something there. But when somebody sings something and you can do it on damn near every song, it's special, bro. And you one of those special people. I mean,
Thank you.
I'm not trying to be funny. Please don't take this negative. And I say that to be evil.
Right.
J King, you, Elijah, you guys got diversity in the stuff that you create. Everything ain't hot and sound exactly the same. The range is way out there. You just gotta exploit it, the inventory. You got a hell of inventory, bro. But
Thank you,
I'm
family.
gonna say this, and we're gonna get out of here, but we will be back Tuesday. I gotta get with Stone to arrange this, and I promise y'all that part two will be way better than part one. We hope we leave you better, receive you with a smile on your face and grace wherever you go. It's Cousin Chief at GC Radio. Come on back to GC Radio. I will put it out there on Tuesday. We'll be back. Y'all don't forget GC Radio. Thank y'all for coming in, Stone. Thank y'all, Song. I appreciate you. And I'll get you back.
Always, I
Right on,
appreciate you.
fam.
Love.
Love, bro.
I called in sick to work for a radio station's birthday party. Before you judge me, hear me out. GC Radio Hub is turning 2, and they're not just any radio station. They connect the real world with gaming worlds like OpenSims, IMVU, 5M, Second Life, and GTA, to just name a few. The 3-day streaming party they are throwing is the most insane anniversary party ever. I'm obsessed with their old school hip hop and R&B, Southern soul, Afro beats, gospel, jazz, and comedy shows. So when they said birthday explosion party, I called in sick. My boss thinks I have food poisoning, but I'm here vibing with the coolest people in radio. Check out some of the line. It's totally worth it. Day 26, Force MD's Lenny Williams, Raspberry Sky, Chocolate Tie, Stacey Adams, Levered Experience, Karen White, Troop Surface, the East Side Boys, and many more to come. If you're into music, check out gcradiohub.com. Once you find your people, everything else can wait. The only way to stay connected is to get connected with GC Radio.